Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to join our Leadership as Practice series. The topic today is sense-making work of middle managers. If you're interested in our previous episode, please feel free to check out our latest post for more information. Middle managers often find themselves at the crossroads of information flow, tasked with making sense of complex data and translating it into actionable insights. In this section, we will delve into the intriguing world of middle managers and their vital role in sense-making within organizations. Joining us on this enlightening journey is Dr. Eric Kong. He's the expert in leading organizational change. Now, may I invite Dr. Eric Kong?
Today, I'd like to talk to you about one very important concept about leadership as practice. That is sense-making work of middle managers. Now, when we think of sense-making, we kind of think of what really it entails, for the middle managers. Now, first of all, we need to understand about what leadership is. I like to quote from Noel Tichy in his book, The Leadership Engine. He defines, in the future, the real core competence of companies will be the ability to continuously and creatively destroy and remake themselves to meet customer demands. Everyone in the organization must take responsibility for taking responsive actions. Now, that's not new, in the sense that we talk about collective leadership. We talk about the whole organization is mobilized to manage change together, not just the top leaders. Now, when we look further into leadership, Noel Tichy defines that it means a company needs leadership everywhere in the organization, from the corner office, in the customer's rep cubicle, and also on the shop floor. Now, leadership, according to Noel Tichy, is the ability to see reality as it really is and to mobilize the appropriate response. Now, this definition, when we look at it from a different perspective, instead of just putting this about the leader, the top leader particularly, we look at it from the whole organization. Can the whole organization see reality as it really is? Now, that is sense-making work. Seeing reality as it really is requires the whole organization to understand where the organization is and what the future entails and what actions or strategies that the whole organization needs to take in order to face the challenges of the future. So the sense-making work that basically is talking about a social construction of reality. Now, that means it's not what you say the reality is. It's a process of interaction and dialogue. The whole organization, the whole team, the whole company define the reality. And then, based on that understanding, they mobilize the appropriate response. So the process of sense-making is making something sensible. That's very common sense, right? Yes, it is, but it's not easy to do, particularly in a highly complex and political organizational environment. So in the organization, the leaders and the followers must construct the reality together and to come to consensus about the so-called DAC, according to the Center for Creative Leadership scholars. D means direction, A is alignment, and C is commitment. Now, according to Center for Creative Leadership, they say that leadership as practice requires the whole organization kind of agree to the direction that the organization needs to take. And they need to align the corporate objectives or the corporate goals to the team goals as well as to the individual goals. So the alignment requires that dialogue, that exchange among top leaders, middle managers, as well as the team members or the shop floor workers who need to kind of understand the reality and the direction that the top leader intend to take the company to, and then they work together towards that direction. And finally, the commitment is more about the identity of the members involved, that they feel that this organization belongs to them and they are part of that organization and they are so-called in the same boat together. Their identity gives them that commitment. Now, a good illustration is, when we look at the Ukraine war, however brutal and cruel, it is when we look at some of the news. Now we see the difference between the Ukraine army as well as the Russian army. Now the Ukrainians, when last year around this time, when they're mobilized together to fight against the invaders, Ukrainians locally in the country as well as those who are overseas are coming forward together to defend their countries, to defend their homes. Now we see people are flying back. They are moving there. And then those were some soccer stars and other well-known people also moved back in order to fight their own country. That is that identity. I am a Ukrainian. I come back to fight for my country. I still remember that news report, filming a 87-year-old man lining up to join the army to defend their homes and their nations. Now, in contrast, you look at the Russian armies, you see that they have to force people into the battles. And then they were caught and then they didn't want to fight. It's not so much about the lack of equipment or they were tired, they don't have enough training. It's not just about that. It's they just told the captors that I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I am here. I didn't even know I was sent to this battlefield. So that alignment of directions, the goals, as well as that commitment relates to the identity of the armies. Okay, the soldiers, whether they identify with their country, they identify with this war that they're supposed to fight, and then whether they want to give their lives to fight until to death. Now, when we talk about sense-making work, another classic story, if pardon me for using these war movies and talk about wars, okay? It's just that this movie has a scene that very easy to illustrate what sense-making work means to a group of soldiers who are commissioned to go into the battlefield, in the midst of all these enemies and hardships and difficulties, to look for this Private Ryan, okay, whose 3 other brothers died in the Normandy amphibious attack. And somehow the State Department decided that, okay, we should send Ryan home so that, okay, Ryan's mother at least have one son left, okay, from this war. Now, Captain is the Tom Hanks acting, okay, and Captain, when he received this mission, then he was kind of puzzling, it doesn't make sense at all. And when he told his teams about this mission, then there was an uproar. Okay, why should we risk our lives to save this Private Ryan? Is even lower rank than me. It's not talking about a very important person like a president or a mayor or a general, but just a Private Ryan, okay? Why his life worth more than our 8 lives who were sent to look for him and send him back? Why not send me back to send me back home? No, not this guy. Now, of course, the captain couldn't make sense of this mission leader, okay? But anyway, they carried out the mission, and along the course, then some of their comrades died in the battle. And there was one scene that they captured a German soldier who killed their medic, okay? And then they wanted to take revenge for their colleague, and just by shooting the enemy right on the spot. And there was a quarrel among the team that you cannot do that. It's violating the human rights, and you cannot just shoot the surrendered soldier. And then others just wanted to leave. Okay, and then the sergeant say that if you leave right now, I'll shoot you right on the spot. Now there was a big quarrel, and then the captain realized that he had to speak out. And then he was mumbling, okay, to himself that, okay, I didn't know why the State Department, wanted to make this decision. And I don't know whether this Ryan is a good man or worth us to risk our lives to look for him and then to save him. He said that, I just want to go home to see my wife. That's why I'm doing it. Now he finally told them about his occupation before he joined the army. There was a bet about what this brave and very smart and also courageous captain was doing before he joined the army. And then he told his colleagues that I was a primary school teacher. I'm just an ordinary man. So the whole thing makes sense to them. Yes, I want to go home too. And then they realized that the captain leading them into battle also is just a common person just like me. And the whole team follow the captain, continue their mission. And of course the story finally most of them died, including the captain, and they continue that mission to win the war. Okay, so that was the meaning to them for this mission. So back to sense-making work. When we look at an organizational change, the middle manager really is the bridge between the top management and the team members. Okay, they need to redefine the mission or that rationale behind the change decisions. Sometimes the top management probably don't give details about the strategies, about why they change. They just give instructions, okay, and then they were expected, the middle managers to carry out those decisions just like that, okay, without being informed why they make that decisions. And of course, the ground floor people would be very concerned about their livelihoods. Okay, what happens to my job? What happens to my team? What happens to whatever? Okay, and then the middle managers were caught in the situation. I don't know. I really don't know. And even if I know, I may not agree either. Okay, how can I make sense of this organizational change? How can I help my team members to make sense of this organizational change when their livelihood, their jobs and careers will be impacted negatively? Some of them might lose their jobs. So in this process, we are talking about that sense-making work is really happening in the whole organization. That sense-making work is also carried out throughout the time, the past meaning, the present, and also the future. The meaning itself continuously evolve and change alongside with the organizational change. So the middle managers need to do this sense-making work to redefine, to interpret, and also to redefine the meaning together with the team so that they know where they are going. So when we look at the middle managers, they need to deal with the top management, the cross-functional project teams, also collaborate with other operational P managers, as well as to engage and motivate the team leaders, the team members to continue their work and to support the change. So the middle managers basically is a facilitator of dialogue through sense-making work. Sometimes this dialogue is between the top management and the general staff or the whole department. Sometimes the dialogue between the middle managers and the whole team. Sometimes the dialogue is between other peer managers who belong to the other departments. So that sense-making work continues on. And how do you make sense of these organizational changes? So of course we kind of know from John Kotler that the first thing about leading change is visioning. And then you communicate that vision and then you implement or execute that organizational change. Now visioning, we are familiar with that word. We hear about vision all the time. But in reality, when we talk to some middle managers or country level team leaders, they don't really know how to do visioning. I've come across two organizations which were to carry out some organizational change. One company decided to kind of lay off after the business gone back, and that particular factory, they needed to to do another round of downsizing. So they asked me to conduct this training for the middle managers, or actually they were the executives of that plant, okay? And then there were about 12 people sitting in that conference room, and the plant manager sitting in the front. And I asked them, what's the purpose of today? And the plant manager raised his hand and he said that the purpose is to lay off staff today. Now, we know that that is the action, that is the exercise that they need to carry out. But that is not the purpose. So defining the vision for change is to define the purpose for change. What is the purpose? Why change? Another situation, I worked with a department store, sourcing department in Hong Kong, and they decided to kind of relocate a particular division from Hong Kong to Shanghai. So I worked with the country manager to plan for this communication with the impacted employees. There were about 110 employees in this sourcing division. And I asked her, so what is the vision for change? And she couldn't answer me. The vision is to relocate the Hong Kong office to Shanghai. And then I asked her, why to Shanghai? What's the vision for change? And I asked her, did the headquarters tell you about that vision for change? Why to Shanghai? And she said, no, the headquarters didn't tell me. So I asked her more particularly, why to Shanghai, not to Chengdu, not to Guangzhou or Shenzhen, okay, but to Shanghai? Is it closer to the customer? Your customers are there, the suppliers, all the factories were there, and therefore you need to go there to be closer to the customers and to be closer to the suppliers. You said, yes, it is all in the Yangtze Delta near the Shanghai region. Okay, your vision for change then is to be closer to the customers and to be closer to the suppliers to enhance the quality of your sourcing services to your internal customers. And then she literally wrote down that statement that I suggested to her. So telling the problem is not enough. Okay, when we talk about sense-making work, show them the future. Why change? Create that meaning for change. Co-create that meaning with your people or the stakeholders. Explain to them that meaning must be shared by them, not just be defined by you as the leader. Okay, now it's just like the Tom Hanks Saving Private Ryan example, that they need to identify with that mission. Yes, I want to go home too. Okay, this is what I want. This is my personal goal, and I can align my personal goal with that team goal, even though I may not agree to that. So why change? Because we want to build a better, stronger, and more viable organization to face the challenges of the future. So in the process, you need to use this 3P statement. I find that this is very easy to use. The purpose, the process, and the people. Now the first two is easy to define, okay? What's the why change? And then the process, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and people. Now the people part, sometimes it's difficult to articulate, okay? Now most companies will say, oh, we do this because this is good for the customer, this is good for the company. And then the staff sitting there saying, okay, this is not good for me. So when you are doing the sense-making work, you need to first tell them where we are going, why do we want to get there, and how will we get there. That is the first P, the purpose, and the process, the second P. Then the final part, the third P, is what is it in for you. Okay, you speak to the staff first, not just talk about the customers or the company. What is it in for you? What is it in for the team? And what is it in for the company? The benefits of change to the staff. Now, when I was talking to a group of facility management team, they were kind of being outsourced to a global supplier by their company. It's a bank, okay? And then they were kind of troubled by this decision, okay? They were very proud of being a staff of this international bank, and then the bank decided to outsource the facility management department to this global provider. And I was talking to them, this group of 6 employees, about this outsourcing exercise. And I asked them, is it good for your career, this outsourcing exercise? And then they were kind of troubled by this question. And then I asked them, so what is the highest position you might get if you stay in this bank, okay, in the facility management department? Well, you say admin manager. Yes, okay, that could be. And what is it, the highest position you could get if you are working for this outsourced global provider for facility management services? Well, you could become a CEO, or you may even start your own company if you are good enough in your business. So what is the aim for you? This is an exercise that will be good for your future career. So when you create a vision for change, you're making sense of this change, okay? Explain the problem, present the vision and benefits, and explain about that. And if possible, use metaphor, okay? That conveys positive meaning, okay? I hear that one company used this training program called New Horizon to talk about this outsourcing exercise of their IT department to a global service provider. Another situation that in which the finance team needed to train up another group of finance staff recruited in another country to learn the trade, and then eventually they will be kind of let go. And then I use this metaphor, running a relay race. You are passing the bat to the next person who will continue the race, and you are going to the new journey. You have another field to run. So communicating change in the sense-making work really is, the objective is to engage the staff and to understand the issues and concerns and explore possible solutions. Address to the worries, concern, and feelings. It's about heart, okay? Whether they feel that you understand them. Give guidance to them so that they may make the best decision for their career development. To be and not to be, okay? You can help them. You can share your personal feeling as well, but in a positive way to redefine that meaning to them. So show empathy, use the heart and mind to communicate with the team. It's not just about hard decision, it's about whether you have a soft heart to listen to them. So I won't go into the details about coaching techniques or coaching methods, but at least in the sense-making work, you can lead by reality, help them to understand their reality. Feel the future, what the future is like. And then positive loop, you're engaging them, encouraging them, okay? And then pull instead of push. What does that motivate you to work? Why you joined this company? Why did you become a programmer or salesperson in the first place? Steal the will and then activate the want to, okay? Something that it is your choice, it's your career, you need to make the decisions for yourself, and we are together to carry out this mission together. So finally, sense-making work, give your team a story to remember. You're the writer of that story, and that story will continue. And how are you going to create that story? What are the challenges? What are the climax? What's the turning point? What's that sense of urgency? And then we take the action together. And then the final ending will be still ahead. So sense-making is not just about the mind, but more importantly, it's about the heart. Your staff, your team members, create that meaning together and making sense of that organizational change together. So finally, just to summarize, sense-making in uncertainties is difficult, but important in leading change. Identities of the leaders and the team members are the first reality that they must define and accept. Who are you? Why are you here? Okay, this is the identity questions. And then it's a continuous dialogue. Keep on dialogue, keep on talking as the team as well as individually to your team members to understand their needs and then co-create that meaning with them. Finally, the middle managers are the facilitators of such dialogues and sense-making processes. Okay, I hope that you can continue this sense-making work and create that meaning for yourself and also for your team for the sake of the organizational change success. Thank you.